Hello, everybody. That was close.
Was I supposed to do that? Was that me?
Pushing the buttons. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Punch Up Pod with Lila and Pat. Happy Wednesday. How's everyone doing?
Great. I just want to point out, I love how we lost 2 viewers from our intro to actually being on
It's like, this sucks.
They're back. They're back. They must have had some technical difficulties.
Yeah, of course. That's all. Why would anybody take off? Please make sure you smash the like button, subscribe, and smash. Is that what the young kids say? What a week. Pat, my friend, how are you? How was your week?
I mean, obviously, democracy is saved. That changed a lot.
We voted it back in.
Don't worry so much anymore.
Hell yes.
Fuck yes.
What else?
How about you? Well, my boss is gone all week, so I've been. He's back tomorrow.
Feels like he's gone a lot.
He was gone a lot. He's into the Tony Robbins. He's at a Tony Robbins seminar.
Another one. That's crazy.
Spending thousands of dollars to be at some seminar for his business.
You have to spend money to make money, my friend.
Yeah, but I mean, first rule of business is don't leave me in charge. Like, that's
come on.
Seems like
I don't
fail
think so.
Right there.
He can come back and save you. Thank you for saying that. We had so much fun last night with our friends on Due Dissidence. Thank you for tuning in. Keaton and Russell and Anise talking about the elections. You know, it's interesting because we're still obviously not certain about some of the results. And Los Angeles mayor is one where we are still waiting to hear. And it looks like Caruso's up like 1 point. Did you see? I mean, this is just so illustrative. Sorry, everybody. Karma is kicking my ass. I made fun of Josh, my husband, last week for being sick and just like being such a baby about it. And I wasn't very kind. And now I'm sick. So I'm so sorry. Hey,
you're a trooper
Steve,
for even being here, honestly.
Thank you. Yeah, Pennsylvania, you guys did some good work over there. You know what, the runs? My 12-cent residual check, still haven't cashed it. I'm making them sweat a little bit. I don't want their balance sheets to be. Oh my God, I'm just going to cough through the whole thing. Sorry, everybody.
Maybe I should use my sound effects machine.
I know. It's not COVID. What is that?
I have random that's clapping, apparently.
Oh, that's people like a Jeb Bush. Please clap.
Yeah, that was definitely please clap.
Yeah, please clap. Or Amy Klobuchar did the same thing. There's like a whole string of completely interchangeable milquetoast white people who could be Democrat, Republican, anything, doesn't matter. They're just lame as hell. But yeah, so did you see, I mean, I'm sure you did, but yeah, somebody said don't bogart that joint. Yeah, I wish it's not, but oh, sorry. Yeah, okay. Cenk Uygur came out for Caruso. God. I mean, Caruso is like a Donald Trump Republican. He's anti-choice. He is a pro, you know, he's given money to like every disgusting Republican. And Cenk Uygur, who pretends to be, you know, the Young Turks, whatever, anti-union. I mean, we all know who he is now, but like, that is really shocking. I don't
understand, because the thing that they do have going for them is their fake aesthetic of being a lefty.
Right.
And how does that not all just fall apart when you back someone like Caruso?
It's so crazy to me. I guess it's just like class loyalty or whatever that's called.
Well, I mean, we're jumping the gun, but there was TYT did have on a special guest this week.
Yeah, Matt Gaetz, child molester. Matt
Gaetz on TYT. Like, how does that happen?
You know, it'd be one thing to have him on and like really grill him and have a conversation and take him to task for like all of the disgusting shit. But to have him on as like a fellow pundit talking about the election results as they come in, that's what it was, right? He was like part of their panel.
Gross. Yeah, and I mean, it was so we Lila and I kind of divided and conquered. She watched CNN and I watched MSNBC.
I just couldn't do MSNBC. Sorry.
It's been a while. I mean, I used to watch that stuff all the time because
me too.
I really do think, you know, especially as someone who is pushing progressive stuff on the left, and a big part of that is pointing out all the misinformation on TV. So I think it is important to understand what they're saying. the narratives that they're being crafted. So you
Right.
reach normie Dems. Well, this is what normie Dems are hearing. This is the messaging they're getting. So
Right.
that's the only reason I watch those shows. But even I got just too burned out to deal with MSNBC. But
yeah.
And then so last night I turned on.
Yeah.
And who do we got on there? We got Joy Reid, you got Claire McCaskill, you got Jen Psaki.
I mean, those people are all gross, but the fact that they also have on, and I don't know if they had them on last night, but like Bill Kristol and Nicole Wallace, who has her own show, right? Steve Schmidt, like they have all of the George W. Bush war criminals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, who was the RNC, the black guy RNC leader?
Michael Steele.
Michael Steele. So I tuned in. Yeah. It's Michael Steele, Claire McCaskill, and who was the other one? I think I told you, but
I mean, anyway, gross.
And this is on Chris Hayes' show, who is arguably one of the better MSNBC hosts who acts lefty online, at least. Like online, he'll say, on Twitter, he'll say stuff like, well, I agree with you. It's just that there's no media market for sharing those narratives about
just
Medicare for all being popular.
Yeah, we don't get ratings. Our ratings would go down. Climate. Yeah.
But you think you're getting ratings with Claire McCaskill on?
Right. Yeah, I know.
Democrats, and she's somebody who she's giving advice to everyone as if she's a Democratic genius strategist. Meanwhile, she got kicked out of her election. She lost her election because she was too right, not left. I mean, so her whole argument is don't go left.
Yeah, exactly. That is the whole catch-22, is that the way to get one of those shows or one of those like pontificating side jobs is only if you're not holding office. So you have to have lost.
You're loser
to have that time. Yeah. But big expert. I mean, I can see Beto O'Rourke and Stacey Abrams joining hands in some big consulting firm.
Oh, Beto for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, actually, he's going to run forever. I mean, because it is his.
He was born to it.
Born to it. Born to do it.
Born to it. So because I am not feeling well, sorry, this is like such an old person thing. We're probably going to do like a pretty hard out at 6. So we should probably get going with our wheel. What do you think?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
Cheers. Here's the wheel music coming up. Cue that beautiful wheel music.
All right. Oh, that was an abrupt. What do we got? We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shots. COVID. Yes, COVID. We will not drop this global pandemic that has already killed almost 3,000 people this month, but crickets on the news. Twitch it. Progressive wins. Dem spin. And what the fucks of the night. Let's spin the wheel.
Yeah. Let's go. Yeah, shots for you, That's actually a fitting sound this time for once.
It is, although there were actually, quite a few progressive wins, right? I mean,
I will. Yeah, we should go down the list. That's kind of what we plan on doing.
Okay, so first of all, they're going to trot out the fact that Gen Z and young people saved us. One thing I know already, if not for voters under 30, tonight would have been a red wave. CNN National House exit poll, 65 and older were for, basically 45 and older were for Republicans, and 18 to 44 heavily, like 30 points for Democrats. Gen Z did their job. So thanks, Gen Z. Now fuck off on out of here, and we'll see you again in 2 years.
Well, and what age is Gen Z? Like, I think I'm X or Gen X.
You're X. Yeah, we're X. We're the Reality Bites contingent. Okay. Millennials, I think, are in the 90s and right around, right? And then Gen Z, I think, is like the 2000.
Okay.
Well, no, it must be. I don't even know. Oh my God. They're just so much younger than I am. They could all be my grandchildren at this point. But yeah, so they came out, which is great. And I know we're going to do the whole demo spin thing. We probably should have done it in a different order, but let's talk about the positive. How about that? We rarely did.
Let's knock them out of the way, right? Real quick. And then we'll get really depressing after that.
We got Maxwell Alejandro, who won in Florida. I think he is now, is he the youngest? He's the youngest member of Congress, right? Gen Z, progressive.
Based on the haircut.
Summer Lee, who's awesome in Pennsylvania. Even though they threw millions of dollars, AIPAC did, and, right-wing Democrats to try to take her down, but she won, thank goodness. And then somebody else, I didn't know about this person, Chris DeLuzio, won Pennsylvania District 17, progressive win in a swing district, which was Connor Lamb's old seat, which is interesting because the whole establishment went up for Connor Lamb against Fetterman in the primaries, right? Because Fetterman was like the Bernie bro. And
it's interesting last night watching how much they all acted like, oh, Fetterman won because he's authentic. We were always for Fetterman,
Yeah, sure.
Which, I mean, in a way, that's a win for progressives in that I think they have to acknowledge his win. They're kind of, their hand is forced. Although, how progressive he is yet to be seen. I mean, Hillary campaigned for him. There's a lot of negatives, and he's pro fracking,
and I know.
Maybe that's part of why he has won over the mainstream media support. But
I will say one thing about him, and I don't really know enough except for the policies on his website. I know that we covered it a couple weeks ago how all of corporate media was trying to say he had basically lost after seeing the way he spoke because of his stroke, still recovering from his stroke, and that he needs closed captions. And there was all this really sort of disgustingly ableist takes.
Right.
So I think they were really hoping very much that there would be a split, that Shapiro would win governor and that Oz would win. But I guess they sucked it up, and now they're pretending we've all been kumbaya the whole time.
Yeah, well, and seeing just how bald-faced lying they are about their positions on him. People on MSNBC last night were like, well, he was never down in the polls. He was always ahead. And it's but you guys tried to create a narrative that he wasn't. You guys literally were trying to craft that message just 2 weeks ago.
And they
also, on MSNBC, at least, they applauded, and there's some truth to it. You have to characterize your opponent, and that will drive the narrative on how the framing is for people. But when he did that, he got away from issues as well. So I think a lot of that probably cost him a little bit of progressive support in a way.
Yeah, I mean, I know I hated it, all that crudité stuff, and I'm all about policy all the time because that other stuff can just backfire, right? The second, if you're trying to one up somebody with gotchas and whatever burns, whatever the kids say, that can disappear so fast. And I do think, and we've talked about this so much that the candidate quality, I think, isn't as important as the policies that person will champion. And he's definitely for Medicare for all. He is definitely pro-union. He's definitely for calling out, wealthy people who aren't paying their taxes and price gouging. So I think there's enough there that I could see why people would be excited about that and not worried that he is still recovering.
Yeah. And I don't want to have the lesser evil argument or debate right now, but whether you should vote for the lesser evil is one thing, but he is the lesser evil for sure against Oz. There's just, that part is unquestionable.
And I do think even if we don't agree with all of his policies, and again, I do think he has an authenticity that it doesn't feel that he is doing, that fracking answer was awful. But other than that, there is it feels like he fights for what he believes in. And sometimes I won't agree with it, but it won't be because he's getting side money from somebody. Although who knows because of that fracking answer. So yeah, I don't know. All right, who else do we have? Oh, this is my guy,
Kenneth.
Kenneth Mejia. He ran for controller against was it Paul Koretz? I can't remember his first name. All over LA, showing how bloated our police budget is, and he won a blowout victory over the establishment guy who wanted to increase police funding. And this I love. Kenneth Mejia has received more votes in his defund the police victory for LA City Controller than either of the candidates for LA Mayor, both of whom promised to increase LAPD's already bloated budget. Yep. So the guy who ran, the Democrat, or he's Green Party actually, who ran on defunding the police, won. So now there's two candidates I can think of who've ever run on defund the police. Kenneth Mejia and Cori Bush. So I don't want to hear that bullshit from Democrats that defund the police is the thing that loses election.
Not only do I not want to hear it, I want to see more of people, especially as an outsider, especially as not an establishment person, running this way. Like, this is powerful. Yeah. Because look, even if you don't win your election, which most third-party candidates are not going to do, especially their first time around, this is information getting shown to people every day that will wake some people up to this stuff, even if they don't vote for Kenneth.
So just for people who are listening on iTunes tomorrow, it's where will your tax dollars be spent is the billboard, and it says police, and I can't, it's so small, but I think it's like $3 billion. $3.1 billion. Homelessness is a couple hundred million. What was it? 102?
Homelessness is 802 million.
Oh,
transportation is 342 million. Housing is 200.
Really? It's not, there's not a dot there. Is it really? Okay.
No, it is, because we're talking billions on the police force.
Yeah, I know.
The budget of LA is just off the charts.
Oh, you're totally right. I thought it was even, no, I knew that. Yeah, I knew you were right about the police, but I thought it was even less for the housing and the transportation and the homelessness. But yeah.
This is a bar graph for you radio folks. But the lowest lowest bar on the bar graph is community investment for families, which is $41 million. So they spend $41 million on families, $3.1 billion for LA County on police.
I mean, that is appalling. So yeah, what a great way to run, because again, I think that's why, like, I love that versus what Fetterman kind of devolved into of, like, you know, making fun of somebody for saying crudité. Like, just show the facts and the policy, and we have to invest in our communities and look at how outrageous our spending is for,
Well, it's the same. It's the same concept as, like, there's no arguing against the fact that Bernie pushed the needle left, pushed the Overton window, because he got America to see in general, whether it's doable or not. A lot of people still didn't come out with an opinion necessarily that it's doable, but they saw the need to change these things. And so had Kenneth Mejia lost this race, at least people would see the statistics about how much is being spent on police and how ridiculous it is. These other programs are underfunded relative to that. So that will push the needle even if he doesn't win. But he freaking won, and controllers control the money.
It's amazing. And, you know, Paul Koretz, like, really started doing slimy, like, oh, he's anti-Semitic just because he believes in BDS. And he just really ran a kind of gross, dishonest campaign against him. So it's especially nice to see him lose, because I think he was in office for a couple decades, Paul Koretz. So he had the whole establishment behind him.
And unfortunately, a lot of the establishment Democrats, other than him, I mean, he lost his race, but geez, I can't even think of the name. Who's the secretary of let's move on. I can't. My brain is fried.
Sorry, I think it's contagious via the internet. My foggy brain is coming at you. All right, but then we had a bunch of other people, right? We had Greg Kazar, I'm going to say his name wrong, I'm sure, in Texas. Maxwell Frost. Oh no, so Maxwell Frost.
That was from earlier.
Yeah, sorry.
Same guy. And allegedly, was he also a Justice Democrat? Because I saw a tweet saying that Justice Democrat, or that the squad added 3 members. So there must be a third. Maybe
yeah, I think Summer, Lee, and yeah, I think you're right. That first person, the Gen Z person, also Maxwell Frost, I think was. But then there were a bunch of other things, and this I think is what I think is giving me a lot of hope. So yes, I know we are all worried, like, okay, a progressive goes to Congress, and then doesn't matter if that person has all these great ambitions going in, or idealism, and doesn't take money from lobbyists. But if they vote along with, the Nancy Pelosi's of the world, then what difference does it make? I do think that there's a bit of a tipping point. Like the more people there, the more possibly integrity and strength they will have together. But also the ballot measures did really well across the country.
This is what we need to focus on. I mean, this really is where we have some power, because once you pass that ballot measure, it's passed. I mean, unless they rule it unconstitutional, or there's a lot of things they'll try to do to stop it. But like, you don't have to trust the motivation of a written document. And
right.
And look how many. Let's just show a list of some of the things that passed. I mean,
okay.
A lot of this go ahead.
DC passed a referendum ensuring restaurant workers will get full minimum wage plus tips. Maryland legalized weed. Vermont codified abortion in its constitution. So did California. I think 5 states did, actually.
Right.
Actually, and that's the next one is, California, Vermont, Michigan enshrined abortion rights in state constitutions. Kentucky reject the constitutional abortion ban, and Montana also rejected. MT is Montana, right, everybody? Yeah. So there's that. There was, can I just rifle through these, or do you want to? Yeah,
let's go.
Massachusetts opposed an additional 4% tax on income over $1 million, with proceeds marked for education, roads, bridges, and public transportation. West Virginia constitutional amendment was struck down. That would be like an anti-worker constitutional amendment. So not a single one of the deeply anti-worker West Virginia constitutional amendments has passed.
Yeah, and Washington, D.C., if you're a restaurant worker or another tipped employee, they have to actually pay you the minimum wage, which, what a crazy concept, paying people the minimum wage.
Yeah, exactly. Medicaid expansion in South Dakota.
42,000 people in South Dakota are going to get Medicaid because of that. We got ranked choice voting
in Nevada. And in Colorado, they passed free school meals for all K through 12, paid for with a tax on people who earn $300,000 and more. So that's a lot of good, like, concrete changes, right?
And it's stuff that you could elect people hoping that they will do something like these issues, but they won't, because there's too much of a wall up in front of them by their own damn party.
Yeah.
So ballot initiatives.
Yeah, so that's exciting.
There's hope, at least.
Keep hope alive. All right. Did we have any? We didn't have any videos for that. So should we move on, or what do you think?
Yeah, let's move on, because you got a hard out at 6. So
sorry, folks. It's my bedtime. 6 o'clock.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, we need a shot. That'll cure what ails you. That's got to be good for my throat, right?
I think
it probably should be brandy or something, but
modern medicine. I mean, this is better than, this is your own vaccine right here.
That's right. It's horse dewormer.
You'll have a booster in a couple of minutes.
Oh God. I'm going to wash that down with the sugar-free Halls. Okay.
Can I just say I appreciate your dedication to taking shots while sick.
Yeah, baby.
Player in the game, baby.
We're testing it though. Ooh, that's. I think I was gonna come down to the line.
Sorry, I'm just looking at this last thing, and I will do another shot. But the ballot initiative in Nebraska raising minimum wage from $9 to $15 passed. Also previously expanded Medicaid through an initiative. That's fantastic. I mean, it really that's the stuff. So when people say they're done voting, I mean, I get it. I get why people are frustrated, but local politics and ballot measures can really affect great change.
And I thought that was weird. I mean, just as a Northern California person, there were not very compelling ballot initiatives. I mean, there was codifying Roe. I guess that might have been the one, but in California, that's not such an issue as these other states.
Yeah.
It was more of a show of force kind of thing. It didn't really doesn't impact abortion here much, but usually when you want your party to show up, especially in the midterms when turnout would traditionally be low, you try to get a ballot initiative that will get your voters to the polls.
Yeah.
And there wasn't much. There was I had a lot of gambling stuff,
Yeah, there was a lot of gambling stuff that's difficult to figure out, right? There was the kidney dialysis stuff, which is every 2 years, they do something where you're like, oh, I'm supposed to vote against this, even though it makes you feel like you're heartless, but it's actually the right way to vote. But they plan anyway. Wait, did you already do your shot?
No, I did not. But as a rule, just if you're unsure about which way to vote on an issue, on a ballot initiative, if you see a lot of commercials for something, vote against whatever that commercial says, because the people with the money are always funding the evil side, every single time.
That's right. Cheers. Oh God.
Delicious. Cough it up.
Yeah, baby.
That's my hot tea. Oh my, let freedom ring.
Yeah, and we will get back to the midterms for sure, by the way.
Yeah.
But we're going to pause for some Twitter nonsense.
Are you verified yet? You're going to pay $8 a month to verify?
I mean, for $8 a month, I mean, it's a latte for me.
It is amazing how quickly he's trying to run this in the ground. And I know most of us are looking at it as an illustrative of what a bad, he's not as smart as people thought he was. He's not a great businessman. But I wonder if maybe this is intentional. What do you think?
No, I truly think, I mean, but when you're a billionaire, why would you want to? I mean,
it's a big write-off.
Twitter's going down in flames right now.
Yeah.
I just read an entire article about how they let so many engineers go. And it was written by one of their engineers, which, you got to be a little sus of that. Don't get me wrong. A salty engineer got canned, but
right.
I mean, but it's a compelling argument that so many pieces of Twitter are unprotected because you don't have people with the know-how to protect, to troubleshoot issues that come up.
Right.
And he says his argument is that you're going to see more. Twitter is going to break more every week until it's finally going to break to the point of almost being unusable. And you already start. I've already started seeing more errors. You go to someone's account, it says they have no followers, and refresh it, no followers, little stuff. So we'll see a lot more of this little stuff.
Well, now he's trying to hire some people back, right? Yeah, go ahead.
He cut I don't know, 6,000. I just pulled that number out of my ass, but he
13% of the workforce or something. Yeah,
a lot of the high value, high importance employees there. But I mean, it's obvious to everybody that he's not acting like a CAO should. There's no PR that's positive for the website. I mean, going out on your own website and telling people to vote Republican.
Where did it go?
Did we lose that somehow?
No. Where'd it go? No.
But I mean, I think everybody saw it. He's basically saying, he wants the Republican Party to be a check on the Democrats, which is anyone that really follows politics know that that's the window of where things don't change, because
right.
You need whatever party's in charge. If they can't change things, why do they get elected? Nothing will change. So there's nothing that these corporate folks want more than gridlock, and
which is why obviously like Pelosi is always saying, and Biden, like, we need a strong Republican Party. Yeah, no, you don't need a strong Republican Party. If you care about your agenda, you want to crush them. Just the way, what they don't ever want is a strong left. They never say we need a strong left. They only want strong Republicans. Anyway, yeah, so he was doing that same thing but the night before, talking about before the midterm, saying that people should vote Republican. Just kind of crazy
on this platform. Yeah. And then should we show this video? Yeah, let's just show a clip of Elon. They ask him about anti-Semitism, and here's his genius level response. And I am in the camp that Lila was talking about a second ago, of like, all of this is just showing what an idiot most billionaires are. There's nothing special about people like Elon Musk. He just had a lot of money given to him, throws out dumbass ideas, has people who he pays a lot of money to see if they'll work. Most of them are just stupid ideas, and some of them.
And he's always playing with the house's money, right? Yeah, like if you're playing with the house's money, then you can afford to fuck up, because you're always going to be able to leverage whatever you have for more. But then he also, this is where I'm like, because remember when he did the thing about the hyperlink, and basically he did it because he wanted to make sure that we didn't do high-speed rail, that we continued. He wanted to kill the idea of high-speed rail and continue getting subsidies for his electric vehicles. Anyway, maybe he's not.
He's not next
maybe
level
he's
smart.
pure evil and stupid combo. All right, let's see the video.
I don't think he's an absolute moron. I mean, he's a passably 100 IQ kind of guy, but like, the people that attribute his success to his intelligence are wrong.
Yeah.
Here's the
way
gene.
I think about it is that, so I'm trusting you with the future of our country, of the world, actually, when you're in charge of a media like that. So how do you prevent, so being Jewish, how do you prevent this anti-Semitism? Or if I were black, how do you prevent all of the... So how do you prevent the use of the N-word? We should be able to figure out with software how to moderate this and prevent that from happening. Is that true or not?
Yeah, yes, absolutely. Totally agree. Temporarily, people have been able to put some hate speech on Twitter, but then it's been taken down immediately. So now, part of what I'm trying to achieve with this sort of enabling everyone to be payment verified with Twitter Blue is to try to get as many people payment verified as possible. It's only $8 a month, although for some people that were complaining about that, and these are people who pay more than that for their latte.
I'm going to be one of your Twitter Blue customers.
Thank you. But like it's part of its revenue, part of it is payment authentication, and so if somebody because there is a huge problem with spam and bots and trolls on Twitter, and organizations trying to manipulate public opinion. But if we can get enough verified users, and we're going to prioritize Twitter search, replies, mentions by verified users first. This is if you're payment verified with a blue checkmark, then you're prioritized, and hateful conduct pays. But if somebody risks losing even $8, the net effect will be over time that the verified users will pretty much always be at the top of comments and search, and you won't really see. You'll have to scroll far to see the unverified users, which will be the bots and trolls and whatnot.
So if something we don't want to see, it gets pushed way down.
Yeah, just the basic.
Yeah, I mean, so regular folks that aren't paying $8 a month you're going to get pushed way down. You know?
Yeah, and I love the assumption that like somebody who can afford $8 a month isn't racist. Like, well, racists wouldn't want to lose $8 a month. Like, what?
Right. And you must be a bot if you don't want to spend $8.
Yeah. What a moron. I mean, all right, maybe I'm with you.
it's the same out of touchness, which is why like having someone, a billionaire, control the platform that's supposed to be the public square is ridiculous. In New York, they were saying last night, like the Republicans ran on, I would never hop on the subway. I forget which guy it was that running.
Right.
Who knows? But
like
it's just some out of touch stuff that's clear. Like this guy does not get his own platform. He doesn't relate to the people using his own platform.
Right. Or why? Yeah, exactly. I don't know if we even want to show it, but AOC gets so much condemnation and criticism, and I really agree with a lot of it because she was put there for a reason. A lot of us volunteered for her, donated to her. We're really excited about her, and she's been fairly disappointing on many levels. But lately, she just really seems to have kind of degraded into some like Insta celebrity, and that's all she talks about. Like, so this just felt embarrassing. I don't know
cringe
why.
Is the word.
Yeah, cringe. All right, here's a little cringe for everybody.
I was at a community event in the Bronx in Co-op City, and when I get home, I see a text from my team saying, "Hey, let me know if you need any help with this Elon stuff." And I was like, what? So I pull up my Twitter app and it's like gone. Like when you pull up your mentions and stuff like that, it's just like literally like a blank screen, totally gone. And I was like, that's weird. So it turns out we got under a certain little billionaire skin.
I mean, I'd love for her to get under like Manchin's skin or, the CEO of Exxon Mobil or whatever the hell, or Raytheon. Like, I don't really care about her having a Twitter beef with Elon Musk, but I guess we all have priorities.
It's just it's her trying to tap into this anti-Musk thing, which is great. And protecting the platform is great, but like, what are you doing? You're making this look like a Twitter feud, like you said. It looks so silly, and you're sitting there chomping away on your. It's disrespectful to viewers to do that in the first place. Like to eat all your food and care so little. This is such a small part of your day, but it's such a big thing. And he's so petty, but here you are. In this
munching on whatever. When she started, I loved that she was like, I have to get a whole new wardrobe and it's really uncomfortable. And look at this. This is how, like, I love that she kind of like pulled the curtain back and felt real. This does not feel real. This feels incredibly staged, right? So
it feels like she did it once and they're like, you know what? Eat some food while you're saying it or something, like.
Yeah. Anyway, I mean, listen, she's better than so many of the people there, but I just, that just bummed me out. Another thing about her that's bummed me out. Yeah.
Here's the genius Musk. This is today. So now he's saying that users can link their online bank accounts and the company will offer extremely compelling money market account to get extremely high yield on your balance. Add credit card. So he's trying to pivot Twitter into Twitter
like some
banking.
hedge fund. Yeah. Or like it's even like it's money market stuff, right? So he's like trying like hedge fund, you're gonna make some money if you invest the way the rich guy invests, right? I mean, that's kind of that's
just
the ploy,
amazing
right?
To see his brain working out loud so publicly while he brings down Tesla, while he brings down Twitter.
Yeah.
Whatever is he a Bitcoin? I don't even know. Does he own Bitcoin? He seems to be tied to one of them, Dogecoin or something.
Sure he is.
One of those.
I am sure he's just so vile.
And we already know that he's going to have to sell a shit ton of Tesla because Twitter is bailing so hard that he's going to have to sell a lot of Tesla stocks, and Tesla stocks in the crapper because of this. All of it's going down, and all of this exposed his government contracts, which most people would not have agreed to if they knew about it. The public would not love his contracts if they knew about him, especially once they realized what a fucking idiot the guy is.
Yeah. I mean, he's anti-union. He's like sued by like a group of Black workers for racism. I mean, he's like awful on every level.
Well, and how many of our shitlib friends own Teslas? I mean, I know plenty of shitlib friends with Teslas, and they think they're uber lefty by doing it. And I'm not saying, electric cars it's a good thing in theory, but now that they know they're supporting the guy who told everyone to vote Republican, you think that's good for Tesla? It's not going to help Tesla.
Yeah, I know. Although, I mean, I think what we're seeing with all the celebrities like Gwyneth Paltrow and Katy Perry and who came out for Caruso, I think that class loyalty, man, there's nothing like it.
I agree.
Anyway,
it's nonsense.
Let's
get the wheel
all
up
right.
and do some more shit.
I agree. Go. Oh, yeah, no, let's go. Oops. Sorry, I do want to say that, but Twitter belongs to the users, not to a billionaire man-child who can't handle criticism. Yeah. I agree. And I mean, I know everybody says it's a health site, and I understand why, but it's also a great place to like cull all the independent journalists and the news sources. And like, it's too bad that it's going to be run into the ground by him.
I mean, you'll still get our views, but you'll just have to, when a journalist says something incredibly stupid, you'll have to scroll down about 3,000
before
comments and you'll get to my comment.
Right. I'll meet you there. All right, let's spin
we'll spend $8. So you'll find us on like the 100th comment.
There you go. I like that.
Ballers. All right.
All right. Spinning.
Yeah, baby.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. All right. Oh, the rules of the game as I blow my nose. Okay, here we go.
I have not even used my sound effects toy yet.
That's right. You bought a new toy.
I actually, in fairness, I did use it, but I was muted. But when AOC was speaking, nobody could hear me.
That's funny.
Right.
All right. Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh my goodness.
All right, well, let's get cracking because we got.
Yeah, let's go. Let's go. We have 17 minutes.
Timeline here.
No. Oh my God, Pat.
Okay. Get rid of that.
Yeah, I'm gonna get rid of.
Should I remove all instances? Yeah, let's just do it so we can get some topics.
All right. Oh wow. But are we doing another shot? We are, right? Yeah.
I mean, you should not.
No, I listen.
I'll
play
do
by
the shots
rules.
for you.
Cheers. I'm gonna conk out right away.
Put a cork on that bourbon. Don't talk to me.
Okay.
All right, here we go. This looks better, right?
Yeah. We're gonna get to a topic. Let's do it.
Yeah, baby.
All right, there we go.
You're right, where I really might not. Okay. The damn Dems are so gross and so obvious, and now they're learning all the wrong lessons. But as we all know, leading up to the midterms, there was a lot of talk about how they should be focused on the economy, and they're like, nope, it's Roe-vember, row your vote. And there was a lot of spin, right? The White House spin machine is in overdrive as Biden's inner circle debates how to message a possible midterm shellacking without acknowledging that it might somehow be their fault. We saw the midterm projections, which were heavily favored for a big red wave. And, who knows? Because obviously, I mean, everything was like R+2, R+4, R+,
Yeah, generic ballots. And even in the local races, they were looking negative.
Right. We heard about like the curse of the incumbent president losing ground in midterm years. I mean, that they started the day Biden took office, right? I think his popularity was like below Trump's for most of this last year.
I mean, they're both the least popular ever, which is going to be the case for any Republican and Democrat going forward until you actually somehow have someone an uprising and a progressive wins, or
Right.
I mean, we both know that's probably not ever going to happen. But yeah, they immediately spun. They got out ahead of the story with "we're supposed to lose."
And also it's the left's fault. It's the left.
Progressives are at fault. The messaging of defund the police is still hurting us.
Giving the checks, the $1,400 checks. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, who did Stacey Abrams? Stacey Abrams pre-blamed black men
for her loss.
I mean, that was the narrative. Black men were responsible for if she loses.
Right.
We have video of that, don't we? Yeah, let's show Stacey. Here's Stacey.
And I do not believe it's because of a deep well of enthusiasm for my opponent. We know that Black voters are often discounted. And unfortunately, this year, Black men have been a very targeted population for misinformation. Not misinformation about what they want, but about why they want what they deserve. And my campaign has been the only one that has very intentionally, thoughtfully, and consistently reached out. That has been misconstrued as concern, when it indeed is just respect.
More predictable losses in red states by Beto O'Rourke and Stacey Abrams after raising $60 million and $105 million, respectively. Democrats really think they're saving democracy by pouring millions of dollars into unwinnable races and making Democrat consultants rich. I mean, it's so gross. But even
it's just like in 2020 when they put all this money into these races that were sensational races and they got slaughtered in those, and you think about what they could have won.
Yeah. And then they made Jamie Harrison the head of the DNC. I think his was like the most expensive race ever. Remember? They brought back Russiagate, right? Russia reactivates its trolls and bots ahead of Tuesday's midterms. And the crazy thing is, then they did the whole thing. They spent $53 million on MAGA Republicans. Their Pied Piper strategy.
And this is the problem, is like, it sort of worked this time. They were able to beat the radical candidates generally. But you're still in that position of the Democrats spreading the message of the radical right. So
legitimizing them, right?
That's what it is. You legitimize these views on the right. And we both know, everybody knows, the whole Republican Party now has to cater to that wing that's radical, no matter what.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And so then you don't even, so this, and so now they've learned all the wrong lessons. So with Democrat Hillary Scholten winning her election, it was in Michigan. Yeah. Michigan's 3rd congressional district. Every single Republican who won their primary with help from Democratic dark money or super PACs or whatever, they all lost. All those horrible Republicans that Democrats spent $53 million Pied Pipering up into existence.
Yeah,
it worked. So their strategy worked. So now they don't need to talk about the economy. They just need to create, like disgusting fascist that you better vote against, because otherwise you're going to have another Trump or MAGA, whoever.
But I think what's left out of this discussion largely on all the networks is that nothing the Democrats did worked other than Republicans repealed Roe versus Wade.
That's right.
That's it. That's it. That is the only reason Republicans didn't take back all. They would have dominated the House, dominated the Senate, and they still may get one, or they might get both branches, but they're probably going to get one of them.
Right.
But it was Roe versus Wade. Roe versus Wade turned out the young voters. But imagine that Roe versus Wade didn't happen, which motivated Democrats to get to the polls. And I just want to say Republicans were stupid in this whole thing. They all these ballot initiatives to codify Roe, or to try to make abortion illegal in like 4 or 5 states backfired profoundly, because that motivated Democrats to get out in an election where they were with Republicans on the economy. They were with Republicans on inflation. But that one issue got these guys to the polls. And if you just left it off the ballot, young Democrats probably wouldn't have turned out as much.
Yeah, and again, so now they're saying, well, see, what we did was perfect. That's exactly how we were supposed to do it. Young people saved us because we're doing exactly what we're supposed to do, and Biden is the right person for the. I mean, they might lose or just break even. So all they're talking about is like not a red wave, just a red trickle, or even if they just keep like the bare minimum, that's enough for them to decide that thank you, young people, for saving us, but we're still not going to do a $15 minimum wage, Medicare for all. I mean, $15,
Right.
whatever, but Green New Deal, all these things that also matter to the young people who saved them.
And the Democrats are all celebrating this as a win because they didn't lose as much as they could have. But if you take it in context, I mean, it is technically a historical win as far as the party in power loses in the midterms. That is a traditional thing that happens. It's sort of baked into it on some level, but then you have to step back and say, well, Trump was the most radical, crazy fascist we've had in our lifetime. So that should have been easy to not lose more seats. We should be changing the tide on this. You had the House, the Senate, and the presidency to do something to make your own voters happy. You're losing your own voters. I don't know. I had another point, but it just,
I mean, and also like the fact that like JD Vance won, right, in Ohio. Not, I mean, Tim Ryan's horrible, but like better than JD Vance. I think they still haven't called the Kerry Lake race yet, have they? With Dobbs, but like,
you could tell me.
Yeah, I think they haven't called it yet. I mean, it's really close. But none of this should be close. If you're actually fighting, but and that was what was really telling, is that where progressives won, where Fetterman won, they outpaced Biden by double digits in some of those districts, right? I mean, progressive policies are popular across the board. Even there was a Fox poll yesterday. There was a whole article in The Lever, and David Sirota's The Lever, we're talking about like the exit polls, the Fox exit polls. They want Medicare for all, actually. They want government to do more. A majority of Fox right-wing voters want that.
Yeah.
And obviously, a majority of Democrats do.
And what did we hear for the last 6 months? We literally heard democracy's on the ballot. Democracy. So if that's the case, I mean, that's where Democrats put their money into supporting candidates, into changing people's minds about, framing this election was all framed about democracy. And this is literally CNN telling you this. Watch this 30-second clip of CNN talking about the exit polls.
Is that the numbers in these exits do not line up with what we were seeing in the polling data going into this election about what people cared about and the order in which they ranked it. So we have had a lot of questions throughout this time about new voters, people that hadn't been in there before that were perhaps not getting captured by the polling. So maybe this is a sign that we're going to see a little bit more of that tonight than we expected. We obviously don't know yet.
And you know what's missing from this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 top 5 issues? Democracy.
Oh, yeah.
It's not even in here. It's not to say that it's not an issue for people, but it doesn't even come close.
Well, I do think that.
I mean, listen, nobody thinks we have a real democracy right now. Anyway, when you look at every single polling of every policy that we know is widely popular across the board, that still isn't happening. We all know the Princeton study, Princeton-Stanford from 2014, that we are not a democracy anymore. So for them to say that, I think just rings hollow. Nobody cares. Nobody cares about January 6th. I mean, like, great, arrest people who did something wrong, but like there are other issues happening. And instead of honoring the fear that people are having right now and the desperation of not being able to put food on their table or go to a doctor, there were all of these sort of like blue check, glib tweets that were like, well, if you care about the price of gas more than saving democracy, you can tell your children that you cared more about, a loaf of bread than saving democracy. Like,
yeah, I mean,
so out of touch.
My first thought hearing that is like, holy shit, here's a whole panel of the biggest pushers of that bullshit, that democracy was the top issue to people. So that's one thing. Here's this this clear exit poll that they just read out loud that all these guys, it goes against, it says basically that exit poll said you're a terrible journalist. Like that's what that was screaming at them. That's the first part.
Yeah.
The second part is, okay, why don't you have some commentary on what would have happened have Democrats not put all their emphasis into the message that is not even in the top 5 issues for people?
Yeah.
Which is not to
had
say
a blue wave, right?
That doesn't mean I support the Capitol stuff. It doesn't, it's just that was framed as the number 1 issue. And it turns out to be 6, 7, who knows, but not top 5.
Yeah.
And so if you're a rational person, you cannot hear that and think Dems did the best they could for people.
Right.
Because that is such an abysmal failure. So what we obviously got after the fact and everything that's happened from last night to now is spin that this is a huge win for the Democratic Party. There's such geniuses. You're even hearing that people love the economy.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Where's
people
that tweet?
Well, and also I just want to come. Yeah, let's do that. And then easy goer. Yeah. I mean, Republicans spent $8 million against Katie Porter. Democrats spent $300 for her. She's one of the, listen, I don't like that she came out in favor of Elizabeth Warren, but she's a pretty good member of Congress. And that's how much Democrats care about somebody who's out there like fighting for working people and holding CEOs accountable. Okay. So
this right here.
Jeff Stein, Washington Post, says he's getting senior Dem official text this morning. Jeff, time to admit that Team Biden was right. And actually, the economy is good and people love it. Jesus.
Oof. So that message was coming in loud and strong on MSNBC last night. They had Joy Ann Reid and Lawrence O'Donnell. And they were talking about their discussion they had earlier backstage, which they always like to do this whole we were just, because it makes it sound like, we were just regular people talking about this.
Yeah.
It isn't something somebody fed us to say.
Right.
But
totally spontaneously.
Remember backstage when you were, and that's what Joy Ann Reid said. She said, remember earlier today when you were just telling me that, oh my God, people are going to think this all means that Biden is doing great and he's going to be one of the best presidents in history. She said that shit out loud. And she's like, they're both like, well, this kind of proves it, like they love Biden.
Yeah. Ugh.
And no, it was abortion, dumbasses. And it really is the economy. But what saved you is abortion. It's always the economy. But you were saying
it is always the economy. And I think the only saving grace was that Republicans have no plan for the economy either. So it's not like they're so much better. So there's you're really like just floating in the wind. This was really depressing though to see, Facebook, whatever, but US Democratic Socialists, it's like some Facebook group says everybody retweets this person. Everybody with doubts about Joe Biden's ability to lead the party has to explain how the guy who actually beat Trump, then presided over the best midterm performance in decades for a party occupying White House, isn't exactly who should be leading the party right now. I'll wait. So all this whole thing has done has made them think we were right about everything. You can't push him left, which we
Where is that guy? Because you won't have to wait. It was abortion, my dude.
Yeah.
It's pretty fucking clear. The thing about abortion is it pointed out the radical things about the right that were not saving democracy per se. They were just things that are against where people stand. And another way to do that is to actually be a party that represents the things that people support, which is Medicare for all, which is
that's
marijuana,
democracy,
which is abortion, all these issues that ballots in red states prove over and over again. All these initiatives that passed in red states or failed if they were hard right show that now is the time to get the public over to the issues like Medicare for all. The fucking pandemic doesn't get you supporting Medicare for all.
You're evil if you don't. You're totally evil. All right, at 6:00, should we do one more quick, or do you have more to say on this? It's just so sad.
Obviously,
Whatever.
I do, but
yeah. Well,
no. I'll forget. I already forgot it all. Come on.
This lady makes me crazy. Mueller, she wrote, Trump lost 40 House seats in his first midterm. Obama lost 63. Clinton lost 52. Reagan lost 26. Carter lost 15. Biden's House is a dead heat. Outstanding night for Dems. I mean, what they all ignore is the fact that, it's so gross, whatever. Like I'm the least losingest loser is the big win, apparently. But, like FDR in 34, like that map was something to be proud of. Those midterms, you get somebody who's actually fighting for the policies that people are desperate for. That person wins 4 terms, right?
Yeah,
doesn't lose as badly as other people.
But we're told the message they sold voters is just give us 2 more senators and we'll codify Roe. Well, what are you going to do now? Because you're not. It's projected that at best you get the same as you got, right? There's three races left in the Senate, three
I think they might
4,
get to be up 1, right?
Yes, they might pick up 1 more seat, but that isn't 2 more. You're going to have another mansion or somebody's going to pop in.
Of course, that's the whole plan. Yeah, that's the whole
so none
deal.
of it changes. And if these things are so important to America, you should have done something to get people to the polls. You shouldn't have focused on. You should have focused on issues instead of democracy, because all the polls show democracy was not the issue. The economy, people are suffering. People need help now.
Yeah. And I don't know why. First of all, voting is democracy. So sorry, but it sucks. But if people vote for those yahoos on the right, that's still democracy. What isn't democracy is knowing that your base supports these policies and the whole country by large margins and you refuse to implement them. So that's not democracy. That is the death of democracy, when your elected representatives do not do the bidding, the will of the people who got them there.
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna make an executive decision because Lila she would love she wants to she's such a nice person and I'm not, but she is. So we're gonna let it go, but I'm gonna force you people to watch this what the fuck clip.
Okay, that's fun.
It's kind of funny, and we'll just moderate.
Yeah. Let's end on a happy note, on a fun note.
Let's end on a clip. We'll come back and say goodbye. But
okay.
The state of California is not where it should be, but we're trying to fix that by voting yes for Prop 69.
You have the power to change California, and that starts with a yes on Prop 69. I'm so sorry, let's go again.
Here in the golden state of California, the economy matters.
Infrastructure matters.
Jobs matter.
That's why we created Prop 69. Somebody come grab me, I'm no good.
Can we get a stretcher? Vote yes on Proposition 69.
California, we're counting on you.
We all are.
Prop 60. No. Let me tell you something. I didn't cry a single tear when my father died. Queen Elizabeth, bawling, inconsolable.
Yeah, I was actually shocked at how much you didn't cry when your dad died.
So join us and all the voters behind us in voting yes on Prop 69.
The bill that legalizes fucking in public.
Oh, right, that's why we named it that. Yeah.
Just clicked.
Look at that. We're ending on a happy note. But also, I do just want to say, first of all, thank you all for bearing with me as I'm coughing and sneezing and blowing my nose. How gross. But I
and the dogs. Oh
my goodness. I don't know what that was. That was crazy.
All right. Check out. Say goodbye and go handle it.
I want to say the ballot measures and the progressive wins, that gives me a lot of hope. Right?
Yeah, seconded. Electoral politics is bullshit. We're doomed. Democrats, strong lefties aren't going to win the party, but maybe they will at some point. Maybe we'll change things, but pretend it won't. Just pretend it won't. Let's back protests. Let's back strikes. Let's back boycotts. Let's get out and support people outside the party as much as possible. If something happens within the party and we take it over, fucking miracle. It's lottery level shit. But pretend it won't happen, because that's the safest bet to getting changed.
But still getting out there and pushing those policies. And thank you all. I'm reading all your comments. I really appreciate it. I am headed to see what happened to my squealing dog, and then I'm going to bed. You all are awesome. Cheers. We will see you next week. Love you guys.
You guys.
Thank you. Cheers.
Cheers.